Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sydney, and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator here at the Community Foundation of Southeastern Alberta. In the spirit of respect, truth, and reciprocity, we acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional elders and knowledge keepers who are still with us today, and for those who have gone before us. Thank you for joining us for our Fall 2024 Grant Writing Workshop. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about just who we are as a community foundation, what our granting priorities are for this year. We're going to walk you through the process, the administration behind the scenes of our grant, and go through some new eligibility this year. And we'll finish it off with our tips and tricks for our grants. So at the Community Foundation, we have 3 pillars. We grow, we give, and we inspire. We grow by accepting donations from the public and investing it into an endowment. When a donation is made to the Community Foundation, it is never spent. Then we give the investment revenue through grants, such as the community grants, held in the spring and the fall. And we inspire by working with community partners to help highlight the greatest needs across the region through our vital publications. These findings help us determine our granting priorities every year. This is our team here at CFSEA. So as I mentioned, I'm Sydney. I oversee the granting process, and I'm typically the main contact for grant applications, questions, or concerns. Chris is our interim executive director. Helen is our main contact for applicants in 40 Mile, Cypress County, Oyen and District area, MD of Acadia and special areas. Nicole is our local contact and coordinator for Brooks and District. Barb is our finance coordinator. Rianne is our administration coordinator this summer. And Lauren is our vital signs researcher. So as I mentioned, we have 2 grant cycles here at the Community Foundation, in the spring and in the fall. So our community grants provide up to $25,000 per grant. An agency is only eligible to submit 1 application per grant cycle. We do offer multi-year funding, but it requires quite specific circumstances. The main reason we may allow second year funding is if your project is brand new and requires additional time to evaluate the outcomes. We also require that it would match our strategic priorities and our vision and mission. So if you are applying for an ongoing program or equipment or a program we've previously funded, please do not check the box for multi-year funding on the application, as it would not be eligible. Just so you're aware, when our committee is reviewing our community grants, they look holistically at to support all regions of southeastern Alberta as equitably as possible. So the committee also prioritizes the impact of the grant, and those are just some of the questions that our grants committee uses when reviewing applications, just so you are aware. If you have questions at the end, feel free to even just put those in the chat and I will answer them at the end. So our granting priorities for this year were decided from last year's full vital signs report that we published in the fall. So as you can see on the screen here, the priorities for us are work and economy, connection and belonging, and basic need, including food, health, and housing. So quite a number of priority areas, and they are all also quite broad. We've also linked the report guidelines. We've also linked the report on our grant guidelines. So you'll find those on the community grants page on our website. On our application, there is a question that does ask, which priority area does your project best align with? There is an other category, but do keep in mind that our committee references the current vital publications during the review process to ensure that they're evaluating appropriately based on those priority areas. And another thing, just again to keep in mind, while there are many worthwhile applications submitted each grant cycle, not everything can receive funding, which is why we use that scoring scale, and the committee keeps things in mind like impact, equitable regional support, and our vital signs priority areas. So that kind of helps make the initial decisions. So who can apply? It's a big slide. This is a lot of information. So here we go. And there are some new for this fall changes. So I will point that out. So who can apply? A qualified donee, such as a registered charity with the Canada Revenue Agency, the CRA, municipalities, and school divisions are all eligible to apply. Those are what we would consider a qualified donee. If you're not sure whether you are a registered charity, you can visit the CRA list of charities page online. If you are not a qualified donee, you can partner with a qualified donee through an affiliation process. However, you must find a willing affiliate that makes sense for your nonprofit. And just so you're aware, it has become increasingly difficult to find affiliates in the last couple of years because there is an administrative strain, and it does pose a little bit of a risk to them. So keep in mind, not everyone you ask will be willing to be a qualified donee, willing to be an affiliate for you. Now, this is the new part. The CRA has just recently allowed community foundations to grant to non-qualified donees directly. So our board is playing it safe, and they have approved us to try a pilot project for this year. So they're going to allow us to grant funds directly to a nonprofit society this fall, which is really exciting. We understand, we've seen the administrative strain and trying to find an affiliate, and we want to help smaller nonprofit groups who are applying for a smaller grant. So we are putting a cap on it. It has to be for under $5,000. And again, that's just the pilot project for this year. So we're starting smaller, more restrictive to just kind of play it safe, feel it out, and make sure this is right for us. So to clarify too, if you are a non-qualified donee, such as a nonprofit society or a community club, you can still apply for over $5,000, but you will still need to find an affiliate for this year, just as you've always done. So there's still the two options, but we just hope that being able to grant money directly to a nonprofit society will just help on the administrative strain of some of those groups. So again, just to go into a little more detail, if you need to find an affiliate, you will need them to sign a declaration of affiliation. That's a document that connects the qualified donee, such as the charity, municipality, or school division, with the non-qualified donee to receive the funds on behalf of them. So in addition to signing this declaration of affiliation, the qualified donee will also have to share their most recent financial statements and a list of their board members with contact information. So just so you can prepare the qualified donee with what they are going to need to do. All right. So I'm going to speak a little more, give a few more examples about the non-qualified donee. So when a non-qualified donee, such as that nonprofit society or community group, when they partner with a qualified donee, such as a registered charity, they must demonstrate that the funds were used for the intended charitable activities and that a relationship exists between the two organizations. So just to give some examples, if the Red Cliff Legion, which is a non-qualified donee, partnered with the town of Red Cliff, who's a municipality, so they would be a qualified donee, For a capital upgrade, that would make a lot of sense because the building falls within the town of Redcliffe. It benefits the residents in Redcliffe, that kind of thing. So there is a relationship there. But as an example of something that wouldn't make sense, perhaps the Redcliffe Legion is still looking for an affiliate and they go to the Redcliffe Youth Action Society to be their affiliate for a capital upgrade. That doesn't make a lot of sense. However, if the Legion was going to run a youth program or something in their building that supported youth, then the Redcliffe Youth Action Society would make sense as a partner to be their affiliate. So those are just some examples. Please connect with the office if you're not a registered charity, and we can walk you through this affiliation process and answer any questions, because I know there is a lot of information here. All right, so in addition to those requirements, we have a few additional things that your organization must meet before applying. So the project must serve communities across Southeast Alberta. So the map there shows the areas that we serve. If you are outside of the area but looking to expand your project into Southeast Alberta, please focus on establishing local collaboration and partnerships before applying. In addition, we encourage you to align your project with CFSEA's vision to support vibrant, healthy, and caring communities. Be prepared to demonstrate that your project addresses a need that has been identified and explain how it's been identified. So this could be through our vital signs or through your own agency's research, maybe talking with clients or doing a community needs assessment, just showing where you got this need from. We also encourage you to articulate measurable impacts on the community you're serving. We want to provide technology support, such as one-on-one instructions for individual and accustomed to digital platforms. We also want to honor oral practices and accommodate technical or physical barriers. So we will accept recorded oral applications, but please note the deadline for this is September 5th. So get in touch with us as soon as you can if you know you need this. Just because, if you require one of these accommodations, we want to give you ample time to complete this oral application. We also just provide ongoing support through the entire process, from the letter of intent all the way to the final report, if you're approved for funding. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything. That way we can help you, or if you just need to walk through the application, we can do that too. If you need to brainstorm, we can do that. So I'll say it a number of times throughout this presentation, but we are here to help. Just reach out to us. All right, so to go over what we will fund and what we won't fund. What we will fund. We can fund short-term or long-term projects. These can either be new or substantially enhanced ongoing projects. Just so you're aware, if it is a program that CFSEA previously funded, we encourage you to explain how you've enhanced the program. If we continue to receive the exact same request year after year, our committee starts to kind of decrease the priority level, and there's a lower chance that you'll receive funding for it. We have more clearly defined operating expenses versus administration expenses this last year. So we do cover both. And here's some breakdown in that and some examples. So for operating expenses, you can request for up to 50% of the total grant, but it must pertain to the project. So for example, program staff wages, gas for the program vehicle, etc. So again, example, say an animal shelter wants to apply for $10,000 for a pet boarding program for people fleeing domestic violence. They could ask for $5,000 for the vet costs, care, feeding, that kind of thing for the actual pets. and then $5,000 for the staff wages for the staff who are taking care of the pets. Administration expenses are more broadly defined as the costs related to regular business operations. So some examples would be like rent, utilities, insurance, supervisor wages, um, etc. This can be up to 10% of the grant request. Some things that we will not fund: large capital projects, which we define as new construction, expansion, renovation, equipment, infrastructure over $10,000. So we will only fund up to $10,000 for those kind of projects. You can be doing a massive project, a $100,000 project, but you can only request up to $10,000 from us. Similar for playgrounds and recreation structures, we will only fund up to $2,500. We also do not provide retroactive funding, so keep that in mind. Even for multi-year grant requests, you can't spend year two budget during year one. And something to consider too is our timeline. These grants don't get distributed until mid to late November. So if you're needing the funds next month and you're planning on spending the funds next month, that would be retroactive and we cannot fund that. And then there's a few other things on the screen there. So politically purposed, direct religious activities, debt reduction, fundraising campaigns or endowments. All of that. So just kind of a little checklist, things to think about before you start. What type of organization are you? Are you a registered charity or nonprofit? Will you need an affiliate? If you need clarity, again, please reach out. We have those 2 long slides about qualified donees and non-qualified donees, and you might not fully understand that, which is totally fine. Just reach out to me to see if you need an affiliate. Other things to think about: does your project align with CFSEA's mission and vision? Be prepared to provide your fiscal year financial statements and an operating budget for the current year. We've had some organizations apply who are a lot more grassroots and they don't usually have an operating budget. We do need something. So even it's a basic Excel sheet of, your super small list of expenses and your super small list of revenue. We just need something to show what your budget is. So please prepare that. Please think about it ahead of time. Another thing that we're going to ask for you is the project budget. And if you're applying for equipment or infrastructure, that kind of thing, we are going to require some quotes to demonstrate the price for that. So our project budget template is on our website under community grants at the very bottom of that page. If you want to get started or just take a look at that, you can do that too. So these are some things that we really like to see in an application. We ask that applicants demonstrate at least one, but typically many of the following strengths. So we're looking for your project to improve the mission and mandate of your organization and improve the services offered. So for example, an organization who recently received funding was unable to run an integral cultural and mental health program due to old equipment. So the grant they received will help them run a program directly related to their cause and increase their program capacity. We also want you to ensure that your project is evidence-based and demonstrates a real need. For example, an organization recently applied. They referenced current local events and news articles and stats to prove why their project was a need for the community. We also encourage you to ensure your application promotes collaboration. Another recent grant recipient applied for a grant to run a program and partnered with 4 other agencies to receive referrals for at-risk youth to partake in the program. So we love seeing collaboration with services and agencies and businesses. So be prepared to note any of those under your partnerships question on your application. We also appreciate understanding how your own organization will be contributing to this project. So whether it be through current staff, additional funds, or just other ways that your organization can show that they are also prioritizing this project. All right, so here is a screenshot from our budget template. You'll notice the little arrow at the top. You can title it with your project name, and you can request up to $25,000 for community grants. We are asking that you include all the expenses and sources of revenue associated with the project. So we have two amount columns. In the first amount column, you will put the total. In the second amount column, that's going to be used to show which items the CFSEA grant will cover and what you're requesting from us. If this is a smaller project and you have no other sources of revenue, you'll see that both amount columns will look the same, and that is still correct. So in this example on the screen, the agency is asking for $10,000 from CFSEA. So it's probably a request for some sort of capital equipment, that kind of thing, that caps out at $10,000. So then you can also see that from their own agency, they're providing $5,000. So you see that in the first column there for a total revenue of $15,000. We also love it when you add description or notes in that second column. It really helps our committee better understand your project. And then at the very bottom, that last line, total income, that line will add up automatically for you with the budget template. So that's the revenue side. Now this is the expenditure side. So we really, again, love it when you explain your program costs and add descriptions and notes in that second column. It just really helps us understand your specific project. Then you'll notice, again, two amount columns. So in this example, they're asking for $4,000 from CFSEA for staffing program costs. They are also providing an additional $5,000 from their agency. So you can see the difference in the amounts between the two columns. One says $9,000, one says $4,000. So again, the total expenses will add up for you at the bottom. And then below that, it says net income, that very final row. So that should equal 0 if you have filled out the budget correctly. If you have not done it, if it's not equaling 0, then you know you have not done it correctly. I understand that budgets can be tricky, and every grantor has a different kind of budget. So again, you're welcome to reach out to me if you're struggling or have any questions. I'm happy to help. All right, so getting into the process itself here, we have a 2-step application process. So we have a phase 1 letter of intent, otherwise known as LOI. We do ask that you allow up to 7 days for this process. So it does take some time. I read through them manually, and I need time to do this. And then I give you access to the full application. After I read the LOI, I can give feedback, I can ask questions. Sometimes things don't quite meet our grant guidelines, and this just gives me an opportunity to give you that feedback and to help you modify your grant request to come in line with what we're requiring. So we've given a generous deadline of September 13th at 9 a.m. But again, the sooner you do this, the better, because it does give me time to read through them and give you advice. If everyone waits till September 13th, I won't have time to give feedback. So I really encourage you to get this done as soon as you can. It's about 5 questions, and after I've read through it and it's good to go, you will get an email invite to do the full application. Just so you're aware, the application is split into 3 sections. We have organizational information that we need from you, understanding the need and the leverage for this project, and to report on the expected outcomes and impact. There are other things like the budget and the audited financials that I mentioned that you will have to attach. If you're having any issues with those attachments, again, just reach out to the staff and we can assist you in attaching those things to your application. So all of this is done. The whole application is done online through our grant portal called Grant Lifecycle Management. You can access this through our website. When you go to Community Grants and click Apply Now, it takes you to this page, this log on page. Please note, if you already have a profile or if you think someone in your organization has a profile and they're already registered, please do not create a new one. It does kind of mess up things when we have multiple accounts with the same organization. So if you're not sure or you're unable to log on, please give us a call and we can support you. So maybe you had a past grant writer who's no longer with the organization, but you know you've received a grant from us. Just give us a call and we can update the information for you to have access to it. If you just forgot your password, though, you can easily reset that by clicking Forgot Your Password there at the bottom, the blue Forgot Your Password. Just click that and it'll send you an email to go through the steps. And then finally, if you are a brand new user, a brand new agency, feel free to click Create New Account. So again, we encourage applicants to connect with our office if you want to discuss your project or if you have any issues throughout the entire application process. We're happy to support you. And just some details, obviously, to note, mark it on your calendar. Our deadline is Monday, September 16th at noon. It's a hard deadline, no exceptions. Our LOI deadline is September 13th at 9 a.m. So again, if you don't complete that LOI, you will not have access to the full application. So do that first, do it early. Don't wait till September 13th, please. And we can support you throughout the whole process. All right, just to keep everything transparent, we like you to understand our application review process. So if you are applying for a grant and you're located in one of our 4 rural fund areas, so those are Brookson District, County of 40 Mile, Cypress County, or Prairie Crocus Fund region, your grant will be first reviewed by a local advisory committee who then makes recommendations for funding to the grants committee. If you're in Medicine Hat or Redcliffe, the grants committee will review your applications first. Once the grants committee has made all their recommendations, they send those to our board of directors who will have the final say. Our committee makes sure they declare any conflicts of interest prior to reviewing grant applications. So for example, if a committee member sits on a board of a charity that is applying, they will excuse themselves during that conversation in the meeting, so they won't have a say in that one. Again, just so you know the timeline, these grant decisions are finalized within about 2 months of the application deadline. So again, mid to end of November are when the funds will be released. We give you a phone call first and then reach out through email. All right, so just some general tips. Again, these are tips for our specific grant applications. So when it comes time for our committee to evaluate the applications, they're reading a lot. So they really want you to simplify and use bullet point form. Some grant writers email me and tell me they don't have enough room because we do have word count limits, but we truly do want you to use bullet point, straight to the point answers. So there's a reason there may not be enough room for paragraphs. We encourage you to refer to the most current vital signs report and our most current grant guidelines document, and just make sure you're familiar with that. Kind of, again, everything we talked about in this webinar here is from our grant guidelines. We encourage you to use numbers to showcase impact. So think about maybe how many people will be impacted, how many events per year will use this equipment. Think about that trickle down impact as well. Is it going to be a huge impact for a small number of people, or a really wide spanning impact for a lot of people? Just keep those things in mind and just showcase that impact. We also really, again, encourage those partnerships. So look for community partners to integrate with, or funding partners, and showcase how they're integrated with you. And again, for probably the 10th time in this presentation, when in doubt, contact us. We are more than happy to help out. If you have a few ideas and you want to brainstorm projects with us, or you're looking for feedback, connect with us. So I'm happy to help support any of the grant applications. We also have Helen, who is overseeing most of our rural areas, and then Nicole, who's overseeing the Brooks area. So any one of us is happy to help you out. And yeah, just reach out if you have any questions from this presentation, or as you get started. My email's there, grants@cfsea.ca. Our phone number is 403-527-9038. Thank you all for joining us today.